Right, welcome back. Episode 16 of the Milner Field History and Discovery podcast. And it's been a little while since the last update. We've got a terrible twosome tonight. And how are you, Chrissie?
I'm okay. I'm all right, thank you. You?
Good job. Yeah, I think yesterday's exertion was, filled into part. It was a bank holiday Monday, and we had the Piccadilly Circus at Milner Field yesterday. We also had wonderful Mr. McAllister, Ace McAllister, doing the Bingley walking tours. So there were some large groups that came through, and he seemed to be really enjoying that. So big shout out to Andy. And only housekeeping and only kind of business to say, mainly, is a massive, massive thank you to Louise Clarke from the group.
Yay!
Bravo, Louise, for taking to make a funding page to help us with funds for new tools. So we've been gradually replacing what was stolen, what was lost, and yeah, that's been a massive boost, a massive bonus for us. So again, once again, massive thank you from all of us.
Yeah, thank you, Louise. Can I just say as well, actually, whoever stole the tools did a massive favour because they stole a load of rotten old tools, obviously to try and deprive us from what we were doing because they were no value, but they were actually falling apart, and now we've got brand new tools, which is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, they were pretty knackered. I mean, I think in that time, in the last 10 and a half months, we've gone through several cheap spades, and they just either bent or buckled under pressure. Now I've got a really nice roughneck Irish shovel and a little micro pickaxe that just absolutely seem indestructible. And I know we've all got decent tools now, so it's actually meant we can get a lot more done as well, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, it has. And also, I think just realizing that there's so many kind people out there donating, and like Louise actually setting it up for us, it just gave us that extra bit of drive, didn't it, to just crack on. And
it did.
And obviously, sorry, David. Obviously, Lisa and Mike joining the group as well. I mean, wow, powerhouse.
Yeah, massive shout out to Mike and Lisa, and you know, the effort and the time and the passion they put into it as well. Graham, Neil, Martin, and Stella.
Yeah, everyone.
Other people as well that
Yeah.
have taken part. I can't remember all the names, so if I missed anyone out, I apologise.
Yeah, I'm really bad with names as well. I'm good with faces, just really bad with names.
Yeah, so that's really meant that we can get a lot more done around the whole kitchen and kitchen courtyard area, and the pathway down from the house and the steps down from the house. And it's been quite a remarkable series of uncoverings, hasn't it?
It has really. I mean, wow. It was always one of those. It was always one of those areas that I just was too alluring not to dig, but I knew how hard it was going to be. So, you know, we just decided to do other areas just to uncover. But yeah, it was actually Andrew that put it out there that we were going to start trying to scratch away and uncover those steps. So, you know, me and my wisdom started there. And yeah, we've got there, haven't we? Right to the bottom.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I spent most of yesterday getting across from the bottom of the steps to the end of the corridor after Mike and myself had and Cherie had crack at that the time before, and yeah, just this gigantic stack of slates, which I can only presume were from kitchen roof.
Yeah,
there's all that wood, literally.
Yeah. Or maybe the roof above.
Panels. They were very thin panels of wood, but nails all the way along. On one piece, about I counted something like 11 nails. So what was going on there? Maybe it's something they're hammering back in, but they look to be the nails were from different periods of time. I don't know.
Probably repairs.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably didn't spend that much money on the domestic area. Just like, you knock it back together yourselves. Well, the main house is probably, you know, more important.
Possibly, but that wood was very burnt, wasn't it? It was very charred. A lot of ash down there as well, damp ash.
Yeah, yeah.
So who knows? Maybe a fire.
And what about the linoleum?
Oh God, yeah, that would have run all the way down the corridor. It was just it. Well, like I said to passers-by and people that had come to see, we'd obviously spotted this, and we'd really, really tried our best to save it. But if you think about how long the house was roofless for, you know, possibly 20 years, you know, possibly longer, maybe a bit shorter, who knows? Wet and dry, wet and dry, wet and dry, and then years of rubble piled on top after demolition, years of seepage through the soil of damp, because it's very damp down there, isn't it, at the bottom of that corridor?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think it's like a pit. It's like a pit, which is
Yeah.
a solid stone floor at the bottom with walls all around, with soil and things in between. So literally it would hold water. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So literally this linoleum that is God knows how long. I mean, we spotted 2 layers of linoleum. An original linoleum at the bottom, which was white and blue diamond pattern, and then a much more delicate kind of looking on top of it. So, you know, different eras possibly. But yeah, as soon as you touched it, it just disintegrated, which is really sad. But we did manage to get photographs. We managed to clean a piece up while it was still there and get photographs. And you know, at least that's something we've got preserved. We have a photo of what it looked like.
yeah. And I recall yesterday getting down to that level in the corridor and seeing again that it had come apart in perfect little squares. Which
Yeah,
was
that was actually the top layer on top of the
yeah.
older linoleum. So yeah, like I say, it must have been possibly renovations. Who knows? Could be, you know, it could have been you know, Junior's era. Who knows? We just don't know, do we?
No, that kind of thing rarely gets recorded in history when it's to do with domestic areas or kitchens.
Yeah,
Yeah, very.
yeah. But we did find a lot of leaded glass. You know, lots of different coloured greens, emerald greens, light greens, clear, square, leaded glass. Some still within its lead as well. So, and that was below what was a window looking into the octagonal kitchen from the corridor. So possibly a leaded window there. I mean, you know, who knows?
Yeah, I think so for the corridors. Yeah, I mean, there was just so much under there, right under the slates. You know, things would have been taken down in a process of, you know, probably the lowest hanging fruit first, the windows pushed in, smashed in, whatever, smashed down, and then later on, like the roofs, slates off there, timber, poof, burn the timber enough of it, and just push the rest in. You know, it would make sense to do it that way rather than pushing everything in and letting it all cook, just getting glass.
Well, we've had quite a few little finds in that corridor so far, haven't we? I mean, we've had that bell push with the sort of remains of the wooden mounting with electrical contacts, which are posted on a group today. That's solid brass.
Yes.
You know, a pulley, some kind of pulley thing. I still think, you know, it was a hoist just in the corner to the left of that staircase. If you're standing outside the kitchen door looking at the staircase, to the left was a hoist on the plans in the corner, which would make sense because that would have gone up to the servery. So I think these are all parts of what were the hoist, to be honest.
It wouldn't make great sense. I mean, you wouldn't during a big dinner party or anything like even every day. You wouldn't want to be carrying stuff up those stairs, 14 stairs.
Now that you can walk them, and knackering, aren't they?
Risk of dropping something, you'd be like, no, best. You know, they didn't do anything by halves, so yeah, that would have probably been some type of dumbwaiter or something on that side.
Yeah.
Sure.
The stair brackets were a bit of a shock actually, because you wouldn't expect the domestic staircase to have solid brass stair brackets, and I would presume poles would have been solid brass. They've probably been taken long ago. And carpeting obviously down the center.
Yes. Yeah.
Possibly a later edition, possibly.
I imagine so. Imagine whoever they cleared it out and took the carpets up, they would have taken the rods anyway, and maybe could be bothered taking the little brackets in the corners and just the rods again, low hanging fruit, easy pickings. And from there, well, just take what you can see. Don't bother about going into the corners to get the little stuff. So so going from that level down, as you stand there at the top now, as we're obviously sticking to the principle of not going inside of the main house and all the cellars or anything. That level's building up a little bit with debris that we've cleared, but looking down, it's an awful long way down, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah.
Staring down.
Well, I mean, house level was elevated, so it's quite deceiving when you stand on courtyard outside. You kind of expect just to walk into house and floor level, but clearly not. There's different levels in different areas of a house, I would presume. It definitely wasn't all on the same level by what we're finding so far. Just by the entrances, I mean, all the different entrances to the house were all higher up, weren't they? They all had steps. So
that's right. And that level going downwards and to left to the coal chute, but also where we cleared the pathway to the cellar steps downwards. So I think you did use that, Chrissie. And then on the other side there, where there's that angular stone in the way, there's also another chamber to the right hand side, which could be connected to the coal house and the heating area.
The heating chamber. Yeah, Mike actually reckons that's some sort of ventilation system to keep the fires going in the heating chamber, which would make sense, I suppose. It would have to have had something. But who knows?
We've got an unexpected visitor. Hang on. Here we go. Talking which, speak of the devil. If we could come in, here we go. It's we'll see who it is. It's Mike or Lisa or both of them. Yeah, it's hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear me, mother? Switch your microphone on.
We'll get there in the end.
Second, we just get this. Yeah. So that entire chamber there. Swap behind it. Oh, hello. Can you hear us?
Technical issues.
The entire area in there. It looks very narrow to get in, doesn't it? It looks difficult to get in there.
Well, it's buried. It's all buried.
Totally buried, isn't it?
Yeah, I can stay buried as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that whole space, like we said, we're never going to the cellars, so any around them, I think definitely.
Oh, hello! Hello!
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. A nice surprise for you to join us.
No.
Not yeah.
How very dare you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen watching at home and everyone that's listening, this is Mike and Lisa who've joined the cooperative and just absolutely got stuck in like absolute legends. And as you can see, they come as a double. Yeah, so hello to both of you. We've just been talking about the steps down, the domestic steps, and all the digging thing that's been gone on to get that out, and then also the second cellar heating chamber as well.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on what might be in that second partition of the cellar, Mike?
Well, I think the second part of the cellar is probably just under the butler's pantry and the servery and doesn't go any further. Maybe under the dining room. But I really think it's going to be a restricted cellar.
Yeah, it seems like the area to get in there is just not, it's not even tenable to get in there. It doesn't seem like, unless it'd be very risky.
Yeah. Oh. When you go under the stairs themselves, it looks as though the corridor continues past the dining room.
Yeah.
So the dining room probably doesn't have an exit to the rest of the house.
No, and this is the thing, with being no plans of the cellars, no actual map of that anywhere that we know of. It might be something we just have to unpick bit by bit, but you some good ideas on how it's all set up.
I think the blocked corridor is probably the corridor that goes all the way under the house.
Right.
And probably
that makes sense.
And probably joins at the billiard room from the opposite direction.
Right. You think it might collapse at some point?
I think we'll be able to certainly get into the majority, but until some of the rubble is cleared from above, I am not happy to go under any further until we've taken some weight off the top.
No, absolutely not. No, agreed there. And just think about the size of those spiders, Chrissie, as well.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Get me down there. Be like,
Spiders out here for a week.
Yeah, no thanks.
So no, as was already said, we're not interested in excavating or clearing out cellar areas or further inside the house. I think with the kitchen courtyard and kitchen wing, that's one story outside. So we were just saying earlier, Mike, that we got right to the back of the corridor, and then I filled it all in with everything that came down from the side. So it's a fair bit.
It actually collapsed. It collapsed while we were talking to someone.
Like, it's gonna go, and it was like, boom, boom.
Oops.
Down in the back, it was like, oh, there it goes. Step out of the way.
Well, we'll be there early Thursday.
Thursday would be good.
With the magic wand.
I will be there Thursday.
Like Sutty.
Like Sutty.
Awesome, like Sutty. Easy wizzy, let's be busy. Yeah, so as everybody knows at home, you can join us on the Facebook group, Milner Field History and Discovery. The podcasts that we do go out on all podcasting stations like iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Audible, and all the rest. The podcasts and videocasts are on YouTube and Spotify as well. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can do so on any social media like Twitter, Milner Field HD, and Instagram the same as well. So there's many ways to get in touch. And if you do want to volunteer, make sure that you've got the time and that your back's okay, and you've got and make sure you've got a decent pair of boots, preferably steel toe caps, and a decent pair of gloves. And the rest is just your time and your energy. That's all. We promise you it'll be a laugh. We promise you you'll get good exercise. And we promise you'll probably be addicted after a few weeks as well. So, right.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of digging yesterday, Lisa. Not a lot, just a little.
Yeah, we saw that. I can't tell you off on live.
I know.
I can't say like you.
It was up to the point we got so busy. And then I think about 2:30 or something. It wasn't. There was no signs of getting any quieter. There were just people coming round and round.
God, yeah.
Even after Andy's tour came through, and it was like, well, I said, like, I know I'm done, and it's like Piccadilly Circus here, so we'll probably call it a day. But it seems to have got quite popular, even for a bank holiday Monday.
Do you not think that some of it is watchers watching rather than people really wanting to take part in some form or another, whether it be through that has been mentioned, clothing, for example, or just raising a bit of funds?
Well, I think there's all types of people that do tend to visit. A lot of them come along and want to interact. They want to tour around. I mean, Chrissie did some tours yesterday as well, because Andrew brought the main walking group. After put a shout out to the Bingley walking group, They do events all the time, and there was mostly families and children yesterday, wasn't it, Chrissie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was quite. It was nice. It was nice. It's just every time I turned around, there was someone else waiting for a tour. So I just gave him a book. There you go. This is where you are. There you go.
Well, it helps you back.
I know. Well, I have been good. I did a little bit on the cellar side, you know, the entrance. I shoveled out a little bit and I moved some big stones, but nothing too big. I just, you know, I did a little bit of something that was constructive. So
Yeah.
rather than just watching David.
That's not a bad thing.
Oh, the look of love there was unbelievable.
Anyway, there were plenty of families around and children around, and lots of dogs as well. So there you go. We had all the you know, the dogs came, doggy cuddles as well. So yeah, it was just generally. And at one point, I think we got there quite late in the morning. It was about 14 degrees, 15 degrees or something. The sun came out. I remember starting to bottom that corridor. I was absolutely sweating. I had to take 2 layers off. My t-shirt was like, it seemed like a fire pit. It was like, oh, okay. Yeah, the bottom of there shoveling. And just on another point as well, I think both the builder's buckets got a bit squashed, or I think the handles are broken on one and on another, but one got a little bit squashed in the landslide as well. So
Well, I've got another bucket today from Lidl. It's a lot stronger, and it was £4, but I've got one to try because there'll be loads, and they hold 20 litres, which is just about enough for one person to carry.
yeah, yeah,
Not going excessive.
that sounds really good, and you know, Lidl's always good. You know, so yeah, we still got we put a big shout out to Louise Clarke earlier for the GoFundMe for the funding and her kindness for setting it up. So yeah, we still have some funds left, you know, to spend on things like that, which we're grateful for. So yeah, that'd be great. And it's always got to help us, because we're trying to build things up where there's areas, you know, with rubble and bricks that shouldn't really get people to access, like the top of those stairs. You don't want people falling down or leaning too far. So we can work that out between us, and it's great to have you guys on board as well.
Well, we may have some tannalized timber that we can make into almost posts that we'll have to put tapes over.
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah,
Cordon it off a little bit, so at least we've been shown to be responsible.
Yeah,
If
that'd
somebody
be very good.
that's their problem.
Yeah, without damaging any of the house itself, and keeping people safe at the same time. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I was looking into something else. Sorry, Chrissie.
No, go on, Mike.
I was looking into something else today. Has anybody thought about putting an ACV on the site for both Milner Field and the farm? ACV, asset of community value.
Oh.
ACV. Oh, I think that's been done as a part of the Bingley Council, Town Council efforts. That's been done already. That's been mentioned. I think.
Well, that'll give you 5 years. That gives you 5 years before anybody can do anything else. So it gives us time then to get on to Historic England. Yeah,
that's already in the pipeline. It's already been done. Historic England have been invited, I think, 2-3 times since 2012. The Heritage Foundation as well. So it's already underway. Anybody watching at home as well, if you do live in the Bingley area, please have a look on the Milner Field History and Discovery website on Facebook, and have a look at the pinned post. There's a document from Bingley Town Council, and that'll explain everything. But yeah, please also, if you can, get in touch with Bingley Town Council yourself, and if you're into writing letters or emails, send something in and ask to interact with them, because that's the best way is, like Mike said, for the community to interact and show that, you know, we want this place to survive. So
Yeah.
get on.
We have a wonderful community on the Facebook site. What we need to do is interact more with the local community, and please don't swear, but even Saltaire Historic Society need to be in and amongst it with us, not against.
No, they've always been open to be included in this, but have chosen not to. But obviously, you know, we've no prejudice against anybody. Some of the things that were written in the Yorkshire Evening Post were kind of unfair to us, but we never actually said to anybody, well, you know, you're not welcome here, or, you know, you're more than welcome around. If you come round, we'll talk to you, shake you by the hand, you know, and have a chat. But so far, nobody's turned up. So
Yeah,
we're not prejudiced to anybody. We're just happy to be, you know, open for the whole community. And I think that's important. You made a good point there, Mike, as well. Thank you.
yeah. We need more than just our 2,000 members. We need maybe 10,000, because at the end of the day, we may need to raise that money to buy the land. Hopefully not. You don't know.
That's a nice idea.
I remember saying, yeah.
I'll buy you a cup, my lady.
£1 each.
Yeah, we were saying that yesterday. We were saying that yesterday to Chrissie. If you could buy it for £1, like they did back in the 80s, then, you know, it would be all right. But yeah, at some point, I think Historic England, the Bingley Town Council, and all the rest of the people involved, because there's quite a few areas to look at this, like conservation, reserve trees, and so on, wildlife species, all kinds of things. There's going to be a point where that all meets up together and meets with what the community wants. So yeah, hopefully in the next we'll all be happy. So I think we've got about 5 minutes left.
Got to nip behind the bar.
Of course he has.
That's the industry.
Yeah, a few minutes left. So I think next moves is to just say, well, what we're going to do on Thursday, and obviously be there on Saturday as well. Any ideas, first of all, Lisa? What do you got in mind for Saturday, Thursday and Saturday, if you're there?
Saturday or Thursday?
Either, both.
Thursday.
I think it would be lovely to connect the two corridors. We are so close, and that will reveal the majority of the octagonal kitchen, and that would be such an amazing sight to see, and that would get everybody going, oh my words.
Yeah,
now I understand.
That's a very good comment. And that new micro pick I've got is like a half-size pickaxe with a claw in it. I would just get pulling the bricks out the doorway with that so fast. What would normally be like 10-20 minutes digging with a spade, you could do in like a minute or two. It's really good. So you can see that doorway, and it's coming out as well. The sides came in, so yeah, it won't be that long, Lisa, before we get through there.
Yeah, get rid of all the roots, and then it's easy digging.
Do the best we can to connect those two corridors, and then you've literally had essentially apart from two walls, got the octagonal kitchen all revealed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to see all of those pieces from the octagonal kitchen put back to their, you know, rightful position. Place. I really, really would. It wouldn't take too much. And if Mike wants to mix some mortar, just to stop them being pushed in.
Get me the line. I'll bring the sand. Yeah,
there you go. We've got a supply of mortar.
I know where there's some bricks called Cliff, and I know where there's some that begin with F as well.
Oh, I wonder where they are. Yeah.
They're definitely bricks. There's plenty of bricks. I'll I don't think anyone can blame us for like damaging bricks. I don't know. Not all. Yeah.
Hopefully in fireplace 2, we may actually find the rest of the head, the joggled head, as is fireplace 1.
Yeah.
They may well be collapsed into fireplace 2. I am really hoping they're there.
Yeah.
And then we can, rebuilding the joggle is easy. That doesn't need mortar. The joggle joint holds itself.
Yeah.
It's just a framework you need to put up first.
You just put a frame in and sit them on top of it, take the frame out, and you've got your head. It's done.
Yeah, I reckon they're all there. I think they're all there. They're just literally fallen and have landed where they landed, and they'll be still there.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, none of the shaped stone seems to have been taken. It was all just the boring dressed, wasn't it? The usable stuff. Yeah, so I reckon just about all of the kitchen is still there, the outer wall. All of it's still there. It's just in bits.
Yeah, but we know how deep each course is, so we can work out which pieces belong in each course.
Yeah.
And as they used to say, all the pieces, but not necessarily in the right order. It won't take too much doing to sort out that order.
Yeah.
And then
It'd be nice just to pull them all out and just get them lined up somewhere so that we know where they, because we can just roll them down, can't we, and place them, and then we'll know how many we've got.
I think now we've got enough people on site to, rather than just literally, we'll move it over to the next bit. When we move it up, we can actually take it away from the exterior on the exterior, and then it gives us lots of room to play with. Then, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be lovely to have the whole of the kitchen floor free so that we could put the pieces in and then go, there's the jigsaw. At least this is a 500 piece as opposed to a 2 million piece for the total house.
Yeah, exactly. Well, once we've got that corridor clear, then I guess we'll have to go to the kitchen.
You never know. You never know. By the end of midsummer, we could have an outdoor open restaurant, serving the public. All we need is a barbecue and it's all good. Yeah. We can dream, can't we? There's no reason why not.
Absolutely. If you don't dream, where do you get to?
Absolutely nowhere. Tell somebody comes along and says, we don't like you cooking, then, that'll be fine. Yeah. I'm sure it'd be good. We just need to get Alan Taylor in then to set a bar up, and we'll be fine. We'll be sorted. Maybe not.
Maybe the rebar was not the word we should have used. The pry bar, because every time that's mentioned, Alan's off. He thinks there's a drink.
Although we have to get a shout out to Alan for his curry on Saturday. He was very, very good in. Although he kind of smoked all the insects out of Delft Wood, they all buggered off because of the smoke. He did make an exceptionally good curry. So thank you, Alan. If you listen and watching to this. So unfortunately,
one of the fittings was copper. He nearly did a runner.
I know, yeah, copper.
I said about that. Almighty, yeah. Well, he's a Ferncliff lad, so what do you expect? Right, so that just about wraps it up, because that's all the free time Zoom will let us have. For episode 16, it's going to go out everywhere as usual. So thank you all for joining us and watching. If you're listening, of course, or watching, get in touch. Milner Field History and Discovery on Facebook and all the podcast sites. If you just Google that now, and you'll get all our contact details up as well. You can always email us at milnerfieldhouse@pm.me. Any comments, any questions, keep sending them in. And massive thanks to Mike and Lisa for joining us as well. So, so if you're coming by on this Thursday or Saturday, say hello and come and have a chat with us, but not for too long because we need to get some work done. And we'll always be friendly now. And thanks all of you for watching, and we'll say bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.